So today we're going to be talking about the basics of multifamily. So what is multifamily? Multifamily, if we're talking about apartment complexes, all it means is that it's 5+ units. So residential is 1 to 4 units, could be a single family home, could be a duplex, triplex, quadplex. Multifamily, all it means is 5+ units. So could be a 5plex, 10plex, 20 unit apartment complex, 50 units, 100 units. Anything 5 units plus is considered commercial multifamily. And that's it. So commercial multifamily is valued differently than single family homes or duplexes, triplexes, or quadplexes. Single family homes, duplexes, triplexes, or quadplexes, these are usually valued based on what the duplex next door sold for, or the fourplex down the street, or the single family home in that neighborhood. They're valued based on the comps, but multifamily is bought and sold based on the income that it produces. So when you have, let's just say, a 10-unit apartment complex, we got 10 units, and let's say that it's bringing in $1,000 a month in rents. That means that you're gonna have an annual income of $120,000 a year coming in rents. Now that's assuming that it's rented out for 100% throughout the entire year. Most of the time it's not, but you've got your annual income of $120,000. You are gonna have some vacancy in there. So let's assume that it is rented out 90% throughout the whole year. So what we would do is we would take our $120,000, we would multiply it by 0.9, and it gives us $108,000. Now, you're gonna have operating expenses that are gonna be involved for operating this apartment complex. These are things such as property management, your property taxes, insurance, maintenance, grounds, anything that may come up throughout the year as an operating expense, not capital expenditures. And the difference is, you know, a capital expenditure might be replacing the roof or replacing all of the AC units on the entire apartment complex. But your maintenance is things such as getting new floors in, having to repair some plumbing, having to replace a toilet, having to fix a door, having to paint a unit when a tenant moves out for a make ready. Just the normal stuff that comes up throughout the year for maintenance. And here in Austin, you know, your property taxes are extremely high, the property values are extremely high, and you might have up to about 50% of your revenue and expenses. Each market is different, but if you want a good rule of thumb and you want to underwrite it extremely conservatively, you could put 50% for your operating expenses. So if we're taking our $108,000 of income and we are going to assume that 50% of that is going to our operating expenses, taxes, insurance, management, maintenance, all of that, that's gonna leave us with $54,000, and this is gonna be our NOI. This is our operating income. And then our operating expenses are 50% of that, right? So that gives us our net operating income of $54,000. This $54,000 does not include our debt. It's just the difference between the income we received and the expenses we received. Your debt is gonna come out of the net operating income. So this 10-unit apartment complex rented out for $1,000 per door. It's rented out 90% of the time to give us a total of $108,000 for annual income. And we have 50% of that is going towards operating expenses, giving us our NOI of $54,000. So this is the return that you're going to get for owning this property. Your difference between income, expenses gives you your return. And this is what apartment complexes are based off of. You have to understand that you're buying a business here, and the person who's selling this apartment complex is selling their business. So this business produces income, or at least it should, if it's a good business. And you, the investor, you're going to come in, buy this apartment complex, and you are purchasing this business to get the income and the return that this business is going to provide for you. And this is really what the deal is priced off of, is the net operating income that it provides for you. Because you want to be able to get a certain return. Certain markets provide different returns. Certain classes of real estate provide different returns. And your net operating income is the return you're going to get based on the price that you pay for it. And this is how these are priced. So I'm sure you've heard of the term cap rate. Cap rate simply means it's a relationship between the NOI and the purchase price. And to get your cap rate, all you're going to do is take your NOI and divide it by your purchase price. So if this 10-unit apartment complex was selling for $1 million, you would take, to figure out the return that you're going to get, you would take your $54,000 of net operating income and you divide it by $1 million. And that's going to give you a cap rate of 5.4%. So that means that if you bought this apartment complex, this 10 unit, for $1 million and you paid cash for it, you would get a 5.4% return on that $1 million. Now, if you got debt on the deal, it does not mean that you're going to be able to keep this 5.4%, because a lot of this 5.4% is going to go to the bank. So the way that you'd figure out how much you're going to keep after your debt, let's assume that you do buy it for $1 million. Let's say you put 30% down. So you're putting $300,000 down on the $1 million purchase price, give you a loan amount of $700,000. Let's say that your interest rate is going to be 7.5%. So what I'm doing is we're paying $1 million, we're putting down $300,000, leaving our loan amount of $700,000. And if my interest rate is going to be about 7.5%, I'm going to take 0.075 times this $700,000, and it's going to give me a total of $52,500. If you wanted to figure out your monthly payment on that, you would take it and divide it by 12, and it would give you $4,375 monthly payment, interest-only debt. But here is our annual debt of $52,500. And if you subtract your debt from your NOI, remember our NOI is $54,000, and we subtract our debt of $52,500, that leaves us with a net income, your cash flow, of $1,500. And that would be the money that you walk away with every single year. So in this case, you'd walk away with about $120 a month. Not that much. And you just have to analyze it on this way. So at least you're breaking even. At least you're not losing money. However, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. Maybe you're purchasing it based on these numbers, and the $1,000 a month that the 10plex is getting is a lot less than market rents. Maybe you don't have to do a whole lot to the property to raise rents. Maybe we got, 6 units that are coming up for lease renewal, and we are going to raise the rents to $1,500. And this is how you would analyze it based on that. If we raised all the rents to $1,500, I'll show you how it would affect the numbers here. So currently our numbers are, we got a 10plex. They're currently rented out for $1,000 a month. It's 90% occupied. 50% of the $108,000, which is the 90% occupancy at $1,000 a month for the 10plex, gives us $54,000 worth of NOI. We buy it right now. The debt on the deal is going to cost us $52,500 a year, and our net income as is only $1,500. But we want to raise the rents here. They're not going to stay at this level for forever, and we want to increase our income on the property. So let's say that over the next year, we're able to raise the rents to $1,500 a month. Let's say that the market rents in this area are about $1,800. We're going to raise rents to $1,500. As tenants move out, we will fix up the units if needed, but they're severely under rented. So that would increase our potential income of the 10plex annually to $180,000. And we can assume that it's still going to stay about 90% occupied, and that would give us our actual income of $162,000. And this is also not considering late fees, pet deposits, pest control fees, application fees, other income that the apartment complex might have. We're just going strictly based on rents for this purpose. And so we raise our rents to $1,500 a month. And let's also assume that we can still operate the property based on the same $54,000 a year. I mean, all we did was raise the rent. There's no reason that the expenses would also increase. They might, but for this purpose, let's assume they stay the same. So at this point, we've raised our rents to $162,000 a year, minus our operating expenses of $54,000. Now, our NOI is going to be at $108,000. So now we've got NOI of $108,000 minus our $52,500 gives us net income of $55,500 a year. And so we still purchased it for $1 million, and now we've got basically a 10.8% cap rate. Our $108,000 divided by 1 million gives us 10.8. So we've increased our income substantially. Our net income has increased substantially, and now we're getting this return every single year, year over year. And we can hold on to this forever. We can refinance the property, pull our money out, and go and buy more properties. We could sell it, but basically, this is how multifamily is analyzed. It's not based on what the apartment complex next door sold for. It's not based on what this single family home in the same neighborhood sold for. It sells based on the income that it provides to the investor and to the business owner. And so when you're going out there and you're looking for multifamily deals, this is all you really need to know to analyze some deals. You need to know the income, you need to know what the expenses are, you need to know how to find your net operating income, you need to know what your debt's going to be, and then that's how you can figure out what your net income is, your cash flow, what you're going to be walking away with after all expenses, after paying all your debt. This is the return that you're going to walk away with at the end of the year, and how you can increase income and decrease expenses. So like I said at the beginning, buying multifamily deals, whether it's 8 units, 17 units, 20 units, me and Matt, we own some small commercial multifamily, and the apartments do great. 8-plex, we've got a 9-plex, another 8-plex, for a total of 17 units in Atlanta. We got 8-plex in New Braunfels. We've got 14-unit retail / mobile home park in South Austin. And all of these properties produce income for us. The operating expenses are not extremely high. They produce way more cash flow than our single family rentals. And it's really steady, and they provide a great return for us. But all commercial multifamily means is 5+ units, and that's it. You're just looking at the numbers, you're looking to see if the deal makes sense, and you're looking to see if you can get a good return on purchasing this deal, how you can increase the income and make more money.